Hey everybody, and welcome to another entry in the Hyrule Compendium. Link's Awakening's out now, and we're talking about our favorite changes from the game.
There's like the obvious big changes, the graphical style, the music.
That's all obvious though. You don't have to equip to pick up stuff. That's all great and all, but we're getting more specific, honing in on the little tiny things that actually kind of make a big difference sometimes.
We each picked a few, and I'll let you start first.
Okay, so one thing that I sometimes don't even appreciate because I don't realize it, but is a big thing for me, is there are rooms in dungeons where in the original game and in this, it requires you to do whatever task to open the doors. And in the original, when you return to the room, you have to do it again.
Yes.
In this one, the doors stay open.
Yes.
And it's amazing. Sometimes I don't even notice it because I'm so used to just like, okay, now's the time where I gotta avoid all the tiles in this room again. But now it's great. It's like, okay, I've proven that I can do it.
That you can sit here with the shield to break the tiles.
So it's great that I've solved this room. Now I just need to go to the right.
That's great. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I thumbs up on that one. Okay, mine, I got at the very end of the trading sequence, you can trade and get the boomerang, and immediately if you talk to the Gorya again, he's like, oh, by the way, this item that I traded him, the shovel, he's like, oh, do you want your shovel back? I'll sell it to you for 300 rupees.
That's awesome.
Yes, because like I was worried, especially in this game, because there's so much more things to dig with like all the new seashells and
ton of seashells.
Secrets later on. I'm like, am I going to have to come back here every time to get the shovel just to do this one secret because I want the boomerang?
That's another great little addition that in the time I did it, I was like, this is great, and I haven't thought about it really since. This is weird to say, but it's another thing to spend money on.
Yes.
I'm at the end of the game, and I still don't have enough money to do all the things I want to do.
Right, yeah.
Which is great, because now I'm like, okay, I got to go do some stuff and get some money.
Yeah, and I'll jump to my next one. I wrote the economy.
Yeah.
I literally wrote the economy. This is something that in the first, 10 games, 11 games in the series, it was terrible. You always had like infinite rupees fairly early on. There's so much to buy in this game. The shop always has new items. You want to be playing the trendy game. There's all the stuff that's from the old game too. Like you got to buy the Frog Song of Soul for 300 rupees. You still got to buy the bow, or you could still steal it. But
stealing does negate some of that a bit, but it's a bit harder to do for one.
Yeah, it's harder to steal too.
On top of that, I think it's a good balance because it's like you can play through the game quickly, speed run if you want, and you don't have to actually collect that much. But if you want to get everything, then it's like you do. So, and it's a good option either way. Or if you want to play through it in just hero mode, it's like you want to get heart pieces and stuff. So for fishing and you want to get bottles, and it takes a lot of rupees to sometimes get that bottle from fishing if you're not like really good at it.
Yeah, and the trendy game in particular you could lose some rupees on that one because those ones moving along the top, sometimes it takes, I think I've been lucky. I've been getting them on like usually it takes 2-3 tries, but I can imagine somebody spending 6-7 tries and not getting them.
Depending on what happens, it can be a nightmare.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay, I have another kind of minor one but I think it's really fun is the horse statues in the dungeons.
Okay.
Oh, is this something you don't think is a good change?
I'm not sure.
For those who don't know, in the original game, there were two, and you had to get them both to land on their heads, and it was just pure RNG. It was purely random. So you could be there, you could throw them once and get it, or you could throw them like 15 times and not get it.
So it took me a minute to figure out what to do with these guys, but then I got it. But then I also realized it doesn't work all the time. It was not consistently working for me.
Well, for me, it was a matter of you throw it, see how it goes, and it's like, it's different. I know it's different.
Oh, each horse bounces differently?
I think they bounce differently.
Or do they bounce the same every time you throw that particular horse?
Every time you throw the same horse, I think it bounces the same.
Okay. Do you feel that the average person is going to figure out how to properly solve that? Does it take like knowledge of the game of chess in order to.
That's a good point. Yeah, not everyone might not know how knights pieces move in chess.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't tell if I had to face
and you
straight or diagonally.
You're a chess master, so.
Well, I play. The next one I want to talk about, maybe this is more generic, but fishing. I have spent so much time fishing. What I love about the fishing, and this is sort of the whole game in general, but it's the consistent, almost like a replay value of the fishing.
Yes.
In the original game, you go to the fishing pond, you catch the fish, you get some rupees, you catch all the fish, or the one fish, you get a heart piece, and you never go back there again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you go back, and there's... first you catch the small fish, then you get the big fish, you get the big lure, you get the bottle, you get a seashell early on. Then you find like a cheap. Like I found a cheap in there.
Yeah.
And I caught a cheap. I caught a blooper, and then you get the bigger fish, you get the bigger lure. I like that, one, there's a lot to do there, and two, it's kind of spaced out throughout the game. There really is not that many areas to go to, especially like towns or people you interact with. There's Animal Village, Maid Village, and then there's like 3 characters in the world other than that. It makes the town feel like, oh, I'm back in the town. Oh, let me check out the fishing again.
Yeah.
And see what's new.
And they do that with all the sort of mini games.
The trendy game.
The Dampe's. It's cool that it's like gated behind doing the dungeons too. I guess while we're on the subject, this is also in line with the art style. I like now, like, there's a more standard art style for how Mario characters and enemies look. Like back in the early NES Game Boy days, you could kind of get things looking totally different. Like they hadn't landed upon. Now when you think of a Goomba, it looks like the same thing across like 30 games. It makes them stand out more in this now, because it's like in the original Link's Awakening, it kind of to me was like, oh, it's this Mario enemy, but it like is in a Zelda world. Or now it's like, it is literally this Mario enemy. Like that is a Goomba, that is a Spiny or whatever, a Cheep.
You're right.
It sticks out a lot. And what really sticks out to me is in the trading sequence when you give the letter to Mr. Right with the picture, and it's just literally like, it looks like it's
like official artwork from Smash Brothers or something.
Yeah, it's like official artwork of Princess Peach, and it looks great in the original too, but there's something even more like weird about it in this.
I also like the seashell sensor.
Oh,
I think that was a cool addition. There's a lot of little like things that they added. I'll just go, like, I think the Rapids ride is totally like reinvented.
Yeah,
it's a lot more fun. I like that there's the 2 different modes to it.
Yeah,
and I think and also the music, the like how they, like towards the later portion of the game when you beat a boss, and it gets that like really dark music. Like it stands out a lot more with the new soundtrack.
Yeah.
So there are a ton of these little things in there. Some of them big things, I would say.
Right.
But it does improve the quality of the playthrough.
Some of the enemies, mini bosses, and bosses are just all slightly different.
Yeah, and some of them are a lot harder too.
Some of them are harder. Some of them are just more. Maybe they're not harder, but they're more involved.
Yes.
Like, yeah. It's. I mean, we could do a whole video about enemy changes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's not talk about the bosses because we'll revisit that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so yeah, those are some of our favorite, like, I guess, tweaks, little changes. I'm sure there's a lot more you could leave in the comments, so please do that. Let us know what else about this game you'd like us to discuss. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Come join our Discord. It's in the description. And thanks for watching.
You actually, in the original Link's Awakening, you could buy the shovel. Or sorry, you can trade for the boomerang, go back to the shop and buy the shovel. And you can have both of them.
Oh, okay.
But it breaks the game. Because later on, because now your inventory is full. When you get the magic rod, it won't appear in your inventory, and you won't be able to beat Hothead. Fun fact.
Okay.
That was fixed in the DX version.
Warning, I guess.